Welcome to a virtual meeting of the Allen Park Board of Education. Please know administration and members of the Board of Education carefully considered meeting in person versus a virtual meeting this evening. While on October 3rd, the Michigan Supreme Court ruled that Governor Whitmer lacked the authority to declare a state of emergency under the EMA after April 30, on October 5th, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services issued an emergency order restricting gathering sizes, requiring face coverings in public spaces, and placed limitations on bars and other venues. Within the new order, the limitations on the size of an indoor gathering is noted as only 20% of the normal capacity in a venue with fixed seating. That would mean if our regular meeting was held in the high school's LGI room, we could only have 18 audience members. If held in the auditorium, we would be able to accommodate 98 audience members on the main floor and 30 in the balcony. Given the high interest level in return to in-person learning plans and other topics, our last Board of Education meeting had 350 viewers. It would be problematic to turn anyone away from a public meeting as it infringes on their rights under the Open Meetings Act. And that would be a distinct possibility given the capacity limitations compared to the average Zoom viewers from recent meetings. Over the past several months, viewers have ranged from 266 concurrent viewers to up to 800 viewers. The board appreciates the interest and participation of the community. For these reasons, the board opted for a virtual meeting again this evening. During these challenging times, our school community continues to stay strong. On behalf of my colleagues, we appreciate and value your interest, passion, and input. Please continue to keep your focus on taking care of yourselves, your families, and each other. This evening, citizens who wish to express public comments may do so by accessing the online citizens comment form located on the news section of the district website. The news section has a link that will lead you to the form as well as to this evening's agenda. Your comments or questions pertaining to an agenda item will be read during item number 7. Comments or questions pertaining to non-agenda items will be read during item number 12. Comment forms will be accepted up until that time of the meeting. Prior to this meeting, board members and presenters ran a test of the system. Please note that no business took place. It was merely a technology test. And with that, I would ask everyone to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Ms. Stradowski, can we have a roll call for attendance, please?
Mrs. Filipiak is absent this evening. Mr. Klein?
I'm here.
Mrs. McDonald?
Here.
Mr. Miller?
Here.
Mr. Moynihan?
Here.
Mr. Shearer?
Here.
And Dr. Warren?
Dr. Warren's on her way in. I just sent her the link. Oh, there she is.
Thank you.
Thank you. We are requesting the consent agenda items as listed be approved by the board as follows. Approval of the December 14, 2020 agenda. Approval of meeting minutes for November 9th work session and November 9th regular meeting. Approval of registers for November 10th, November 12th, November 13th, November 17th, November 19th, November 24th, November 30th, December 1st, and December 10th. And approval of wire transfers from November 6th through December 10th.
So moved.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Moving forward, President's communications, I have none at this time. Reading of communications, which is ordinarily the job of Mrs. Filipiak, but she is not here this meeting. I do have one communication that I would like to read. This is an email that was sent by Mr. Darga to all parents, staff, and community members regarding the Allen Park bond plan and the middle school pool. It was sent on December 2nd, but I wanted to read it again tonight for those who may have missed it. I wanted to share, this is Mr. Darga speaking. Dear parents, staff, and community members, I wanted to share a quick update regarding our AP bond plan and the status of the middle school pool. Based on information shared during our November board meeting, I've spoken with our bond planning representatives at Barton Mallow regarding our APPS bond plan and have asked them to add into our plan a new addition that would house a multi-use space STEM robotics gym. By adding this extra space into our plan now, we have created some state-approved flexibility down the road to make better informed decisions on how our school community would like to proceed with funds allocated for Allen Park Middle School. Pending finances and bond approval, we may have an opportunity to create a win-win scenario. We may be able to create a multi-use space, new construction, as well as make appropriate updates to the middle school pool that will allow us to continue our current programs as well as expand on the pool's use for our students and our community members. As a timeline, pending the bond vote in May, changes at Allen Park Middle School are not scheduled to take place for the next 3 to 4 academic years. This gives our school community plenty of time to create a focus group if needed to reevaluate the decisions made during the 2018-2022 strategic plan, where it was first introduced to close the middle school pool and expand an area for multi-use space. I appreciate the emails sent from students, teachers, and parents. I've also seen the Save the Pool signs throughout our neighborhoods. Allen Park is a passionate school community, one that I am proud to serve as the superintendent of schools. As time passes, so do our priorities. What sounded like a solid plan back in 2018 might not reflect the priorities of our school community of 2020 and beyond. We will continue to keep our options open and continue to make community-based decisions that best serve our students. Here are a couple bullet points to keep you informed and updated. The middle school pool is not, repeat, not on the December Board of Education meeting agenda. Board members will not be voting to keep the pool open or closed. This decision will take place at a much later date. Members of the Board of Education have approved additional space, new construction to be added to the bond plan for Allen Park Middle School. This allows us future flexibility to make better informed decisions. I want to thank Mr. Darga for sending that communication out to the community. There seemed to have been some consternation and or lack of understanding, so I'm glad that went out. Thank you. Citizens' comments, Dr. Tefelsky, relating to agenda items.
Yeah, we have 2 tonight. They are both pertaining to an agenda on an item on tonight's agenda. Good evening. First, I would like to say thank you so much for everyone's hard work during these extreme. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me click over to the other one. I apologize. I meant to. I didn't read the name. So this one is from Heather Macbeth, and it is good evening. First, I would like to say thank you so much for everyone's hard work during these extremely unprecedented times. I am curious to know if there is any more discussion or thought that has gone into the possibility of a hybrid mode where those who are comfortable can attend face-to-face and those who are not attend remotely. I have 3 high school students that are having a horrific time with the Edgenuity platform. My one student is in all AP and honors classes and is having a terrible time. She works late into the evenings and on weekends. She has chose to not take one of the AP exams because she knows what she's being taught through this platform is not what's being taught face-to-face, and she won't be properly prepared for the exam. I would also like to state that the Calvert program for elementary is no better. Working in education myself, I'm aware of what is taught in kindergarten. The program, for the most part, is way above kindergarten level and not teaching things they should be learning. The program is not very interactive. It's actually a very sterile program. Thank you again for your hard work and hope everyone has a happy holiday. Second one is from Jennifer Menzer. What are the numbers for possibly going back face-to-face learning? Have the numbers improved at all towards that goal? And that's it.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Tefelsky. Moving on to item 8, I'll turn the meeting over to Superintendent Darga for an award of excellence.
At this time, in honor of dedicated service to the Board of Education, we have congratulations to Patrick Shear, who was appointed in 2019, and congratulations Rick Moynihan, who started serving on the board in 2006 through 2020. We'd also like to say happy birthday to Rick today also. I had an opportunity to speak with Rick today. Rick actually stopped by central office. We had a great discussion. Rick's years of service, and passion to Allen Park Public Schools, undoubtedly. Rick's been with us. He's lifelong Allen Parker. His kids went through our school, and again, he's been a board member that we've been able to count on. Rick is someone who's very sound. We always knew where Rick stood on issues. He was never hesitant to contact any of his board members, including myself, with any questions or to work through any situations. People like Rick coming through and serving this long are hard to find. And again, Rick, we appreciate you. We appreciate your dedication and passion to the students and Allen Park community. So thank you. Also, again, to Pat Shear. Pat's been with us for the year. We've really enjoyed Pat being on the board. He brought a new perspective to us. Pat was visited central office quite often to meet with central office personnel to ask questions and kind of talk about issues and give us a different frame of mind to think of things. Pat brought in a lot of different PowerPoint presentations. He liked to kind of work through situations and he enjoyed sharing that with the community. Pat is looking forward to doing other things now that he's stepping down from the board. But again, to each of these individuals, thank you so much on behalf of Allen Park Public Schools. And I know Gordon may have a few comments also on behalf of the board.
Well, I was just going to tell Mr. Shearer that this last year has really been a real pleasure to have him as part of the board. He certainly brings the kind of focused energy and attention to the kind of details that are difficult for some of us to necessarily get to at times. He does so from a really great place. His temperament and the way he's comported himself with not just myself, but from reports of others on the board, the way he's interacted with them has been first class and professional. And he's been a real pleasure to work with this past year. And I want to thank him for his voluntary service, essentially voluntary service to this public school community. So Patrick, thank you for that. And Mr. Moynihan, not only happy birthday, but a massive thank you for your incredibly lengthy term of responsible stewardship for Allen Park Public Schools. You've become not just a really important member of this board, but you've become a friend. I appreciate all of your efforts throughout the years. I'm not sure you and I have been in 100% agreement on every topic throughout the years, but it's always been civil, and it's always been with the kids in your heart. Decisions behind everything you do has always been about the kids. And for that, the district has been a better place for the better part now of 14 years. I will say this, probably your most important attribute from my perspective over the last 14 years has been your constant willingness to be the voice of financial prudence. And it was not uncommon to have people wanting to spend money and you being the person to step in and slow everything down a little bit, most of the time for the good. And that was, I thought, a role that you served incredibly well at. Your leadership on the board and your participation is the kind of quiet, civil participation that people throughout this country do that make places like Allen Park Schools better for kids. You certainly have accomplished that. And I thank you on behalf of the board and all of the board members you and I have served with for all of your efforts throughout these years. And tell your wife, thank you for lending you to us throughout those years as well.
And on behalf of the Board of Education and our school community, each member is getting, of course, their bell that is engraved. And on the engraved, it says, Board of Education, thank you for your service to Allen Park Public Schools. And each member will receive that. So again, thank you.
Mike, I don't think it's a problem if we want to pause for a second, if either of them would like to address the board at all. Is that okay?
Of course.
All right, we'll start with Mr. Shearer. Is there anything you'd like to say to the board?
Well, I'm really almost embarrassed to be recognized for, along with Rick, since he served more years than I served in months. So My service pales in comparison. But I just want to say this was one of the best experiences of my life, because like everybody's got an opinion on education. And it was so fascinating to see it from the inside. It really has given me a much deeper appreciation for what you go through. I had no idea of the constraints that are placed on the operation of a school system between the laws and the policies and the privacy and the money. And it was just really fascinating. I want to say, and I think the other fact is nobody agrees on everything. If I said we're going to give every family $1 million, there's going to be 5 families that say that's ridiculous. So it's really tough. So I really got a lot of respect for what you guys go through. I want to say, I might have said this before, but I was on a nuclear submarine in the Cold War, and I served with some of the finest people I've ever known. From the 18-year-old helmsman to the 35-year-old captain, and then at Ford Motor Company, same way, just tremendous people. And I will say I have never seen a better worker in my life than Barb. I kid you not. And I have seen the cream of the crop. So I just wanted to get that out there. And I also wanted to say, it's funny because I left the Navy. I thought I'll never work with a group like this again. And then I got to Ford Motor Company and I thought, man, I'll never work with a group this good again. And then the team you built there is spectacular. I really, I sleep good at night knowing that everybody you've got on that staff there is there. It's just a dynamite team, and with a lot of good, fresh ideas. And, it makes me have a lot of faith in the future of the district. And that's all I got. And Gordon, thank you I forgot this, but thank you for suggestion I get on the board. I would have never done it in a million years. But you're nice, you're steady, consistent coaching really made the difference. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Shearer. Mr. Moynihan?
Well, first, I'd like to thank you for the kind words. It's been a great 14 years. Mr. Miller, we haven't always seen eye to eye, but we've always gotten through that, and I think made the right decisions. Mr. Darga, great leadership over these years. We've been through many trials and tribulations. I think the pandemic probably being the biggest, but you've always handled them professionally and stuck to your guns. Again, Barb, the best, absolutely the best we've ever seen. Didn't think she could fill Pat Hall's shoes, but boy, she stepped right in and we didn't miss it. I enjoyed the 14 years, kind of sad to be leaving, but it's in good hands. Gordon's still at the helm. He should lead this board through the rest of these times. And just everybody remember, it's for the kids. That's all you have to remember, is every decision you make has to be definitely made for the students. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Moynihan. Yes, these meetings are always the bittersweet ones to see colleagues go. So thank you both again. And I do regret that it's not in person, but we will catch up with you when this is over with, and hopefully get you back in person for one go around to congratulate you. We'll turn the meeting over to Mr. Darga for item 9, personnel.
Very good. Employment services to be improved en masse. We are recommending that the individuals as listed be employed. The candidates were interviewed and recommended by committee. As appropriate, background checks have been conducted. The suggested motion that the recommendations for employment and services be approved by the board for the individuals as presented. Jacob Berry, yearbook advisor, Allen Park Community School. John Crawford, food truck driver, operations, utility driver. Jim Donosky, varsity girls bowling coach, Allen Park High School. Christina Johnson, freshman sideline cheer co-coach, Allen Park High School. Katrina McKay, volunteer girls bowling coach, Allen Park High School.
Motion.
Support.
Okay, been moved and supported. Anyone have any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Retirement resignations, Mr. Darga.
We have received and accepted the following retirements and resignations. William Jeffrey, food truck driver operations, and Christine Lyson, food service, Allen Park Middle School. I'd like to take this opportunity to recognize Christine Lyson for 17 and a half years of exemplary service to the students and staff of Allen Park Public Schools, in addition to 3 years of subbing throughout the district prior to becoming a member of the Food Services Department in 2003. Chris, your hard work, dedication, and positive attitude have greatly benefited the students you served, and you have the sincere appreciation of their families and the entire school community. On behalf of the Board of Education, we hope that your retirement will bring you good health, joy, and fulfillment. An Award of Excellence plaque will be sent to Christine's home. We wish you the very best, Chris.
And Chris, on behalf of the entire board, congratulations and thank you for all of your time on behalf of the district. Mr. Darga, 10A, old business.
The extended COVID-19 learning plan, a reconfirmed instructional delivery plan. Since the extended COVID-19 learning plan was approved, the board must meet to reconfirm delivery of instruction, solicit public comment on how instruction is going to be delivered, and publicly announce weekly two-way interaction rates for every 30 days. The district shall report to the Center of Educational Performance and Information, which is CEPI, for the instructional delivery method that was reconfirmed, how that instruction will be delivered for each grade level offered by the district, and whether or not, as determined by MDE in consultation with CEPI, the district is offering higher levels of in-person instruction for English language learners, special education students, and other specified populations. The Wayne County community spread level, Allen Park risk is still at a level E. COVID positivity test rate 14.9, last current logged. Wayne County Health Department, Health of Human and Veteran Services on November the 20th of 2020 issued a public health advisory that made a strong recommendation that schools in Wayne County should temporarily shift to remote learning model through January 15th of 2021 due to the case rate increase, resulting in a second wave that is at a higher level than the first peak in April of 2020. We must also take into consideration the onset of cold weather and the greater likelihood of indoor interpersonal activity. The district is also cognizant that the holidays may bring more people not living in the same household together indoors. Second semester for secondary students ends on January 22nd of 2020. The Allen Park Public Schools mitigation plan, preparedness plans, which were reviewed by Wayne County Department of Health and Human Services, gave us a 100% passing score. Surveys to the Allen Park teachers, AP students, grades 6 through 12, and our AP families. We have our weekly engagement percentage reports, two-way communications, and attendance. And those reports are Arno Elementary, 95.2%, Benny, 94.28%, Lindeman, 93.16%, Allen Park Middle School, 99.78%, Allen Park High School, 88.79%, and Allen Park Community School was 72.73% this past week. We do have a suggested motion that the Allen Park Board of Education reconfirm the mode of instruction, which includes the continuation of remote learning while monitoring the 14-day rolling average for Wayne County, utilizing the COVID Act Now site for 14 consecutive days as a positive rate of less than 5% for a safe return to in-person instruction per the COVID extended learning plan. Also, per board members' questioning, there is an option that we can also do a stretch mode and add on that further, for parent guardian planning purposes, the district would not return to in-person learning prior to January 22nd of 2021 and will continue to date the COVID data. And again, that is an addition. Currently, right now, the suggested motion is our suggested motion that we've used in the past, and that is the COVID data. The additional for board discussion is following the Wayne County Health Department's recommendation, and then leaving that out until our semester break is actually January the 22nd, even though Wayne County Health offered January 15th as their date. And that's again because everybody has differing ends of semesters. So we would go January 22nd if that's an option for the board.
Okay. Does anyone want to move as recommended?
Yeah, I'll move, including the writer to, I think, yes, I'll make that motion, including the writer for the 22nd.
Okay, it's been moved as recommended, plus the additional language extending it out to January 22. Is there support for that motion?
Support.
Okay, it's been moved and supported. Let's go around the horn on this one. Let's start with Mrs. McDonald.
Is this for question?
For question and comment, yes.
Okay, comments. Looking at some numbers and charts and whatnot that Mr. Shearer put together, and looking at the numbers and carrying things out mathematically, I believe we're there anyway at the earliest with the 14-day rate. I think this would give our parents a heads up to know what to expect, not be living moment to moment, day to day, week to week. So I think it's a good and responsible plan. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. McDonald. Mr. Moynihan.
Gordon, I think he stepped away for a minute. Do you want to pass him?
Okay, we'll go with Dr. Warren next.
Hi, can you guys hear me? Okay, sorry, I was having some technical issues, so my husband gave me his headphones. That seems to be working. But I definitely agree with what Jeanette said. Unfortunately, I don't see those numbers coming down until about then too. I definitely agree with where that thought process is at. I do feel that when that time comes, or I should say before that time comes, we need to be ready. So, maybe even having some sort of another meeting and speaking about the possible hybrid plans, or just how we can get back to school. Because if we do revert back to that 5%, it might take long, it might take even longer. And then could be into March, and then it's a year that our kids have been out of school, and that's tough. That's hard. So I'd like to be able to meet to discuss some options like a hybrid plan, or even just getting the kids back to school, period. I know the CDC now recommends that the kids go back to school. I've heard Dr. Fauci now say it. So they're saying follow the research, the kids aren't spreading it. So I definitely think, like Jeanette said, I don't think we're going back regardless until then. I definitely agree with that. But I feel like we need to be prepared for that date. So that way we can better prepare ourselves and we're ready for what comes next.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Warren. Just a point of clarity on that, because she raises a good question. At our next board meeting, the early January board meeting, this topic will be on the agenda, right, Mr. Darga, where we can have extensive discussions regarding it?
Yeah, that's correct. And I was actually just telling the admin team, the principal team, that we may even look into do a board workshop with the board to discuss the hybrid plan. And after this is done, I'm happy to kind of give a little bit of an update on the hybrid plan, because we have been working on that.
Awesome. I really appreciate that. Thank you guys very much.
And we have to recertify our plan every month by the 6th, I think, Mr. Darga. So that would certainly be appropriate for that first meeting.
Great, thank you. Mr. Moynihan, I called you when you stepped away, but you're back up to the plate.
I don't have any comments at this time.
Okay, Mr. Klein.
Yeah, more pretty much just reiterating, we definitely need a date that gives families and teachers a chance to plan and be prepared. And I think that seems like we're heading out anyway. So the 22nd seems like a reasonable date where we hit that semester mark. So I think that's a logical place. Jen, I really appreciate the idea that we go back with a strong plan. And I think if I'm doing that in my head right, our board meeting on the 11th would be a good chance to sort of share that plan and make sure we're locked down. But maybe we need to, maybe we can meet the week before or something to try to do some of that work in a working session so that on the 11th we can really kind of roll out strong. But yeah, thanks.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Klein. Mr. Shearer.
Gordon, I'd like to do, I need about 10 minutes to go. I got some really good information I think will be helpful. My PowerPoint,
But tonight of all nights, you have lots of leeway, so sure, go ahead.
Oh, in that case, get comfy. I was born in, let's see. The usual challenge. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So just, I made a few tweaks to that package I sent out the other day, focusing on COVID, a little bit about testing, quarantine rules, some stats, vaccines, which great news today, man. Awesome. And war game and some of this return to school stuff. I'm going to skip this. This is kind of, the summary is basically, we got actually, I'll just go through it. So testing overview, I don't know. I've always figured, I couldn't figure out all these tests. So I made a little cheat sheet just to help. If anybody doesn't know, you get this PCR test, which they call it the 2-day test. And it detects genetic material. It's more accurate, but it takes a little time. And then this antigen test, which detects virus proteins. So it takes less time. This is the 15-minute test that they, you get the swab up the nose. The trick about this test is it takes a few days for this to be able to detect it. Certainly on the day you're infected, this would never pick it up. My doctor told me, wait 5 days before this can really. So they said the moral of the story was, if you are negative on this antigen test, don't assume you don't have it. You should continue to quarantine and then get a PCR test, is what my doctor told me. So negative on this test isn't necessarily the green light. They did say if you're positive on either of them, you got it. I mean, there's not a lot of false positives. But anyway, so that's the 2 tests. And then the antibody test, where you got to give your blood. And this one really helps see if you've had it in the past. So they use it to find out how bad an infection really was. They'll go through a community and sample everybody and say, how many people ended up really had it. But it takes a long time. So this isn't a diagnostic test. This is a kind of an after the fact test. So that's the testing. So PCR is this place I found. We found it on. It's in Allen Park. It's called UMed Diagnostics. It's right next to Tropical Smoothie, between Tropical Smoothie and a gas station on Southfield. And they'll give you the PCR test, but they guarantee the results in 24 hours. So we did this one last week, and you can just call for an appointment. They come out to your car. You don't have to get out of the car. Just give them your medical, your health insurance card and your ID, and they'll take care of everything. And then, of course, go ahead.
That's good info. No, I was going to tell you that's good info to have, because I have a lot of patients and different things like that are always wanting to get tested, and I always tell them the PCR is the way to go with most accurate results. But I haven't seen this one yet that they'll give it to you within 24 hours. So that's awesome. I didn't even know that. I'm sending them to places that are, guaranteed within 48. So thank you.
Oh, no, these are good. There's a place out in, my son went to a place out in Hazel Park, but he said it was disgusting, but they're fast. But this place was.
Yeah, that's I've seen some that are further away. So
yeah. So they're really nice. And then, of course, Wayne County's got all kinds of information for free testing. There are new quarantine guidelines on the CDC website now. So the big thing is your quarantine can end after day 10 without testing if you have no symptoms reported during your daily monitoring. So if you go 10 days with no symptoms, you can end your quarantine. And then if you've got testing available, you can, the quarantine can end after 7 days if a diagnostic specimen tests negative and you didn't report any symptoms during the 7 days. So that's some good news. It's going to improve efficiency and, sometimes, 14 days is a long time to quarantine, so people don't want to do it, but this gives them some more options. You can cut the time in half. So I thought that was good news. I didn't know this, but KN95, N95, what's the difference? Blah, blah, blah. So the difference is N95 meets the US standard, KN95 meets the China standard, and those standards are very close. So they're essentially functionally equivalent, an N95 and a KN95, but a KN95 is way cheaper, and I don't know why, but so the moral of the story was they said buy a KN95. This is just talking about, when can we get back? This is an example. Here's the COVID positivity rate. Here's where we hit the 5%, and we're up around 15 now. And it took 43 days to get from there to there. And, so the moral of this story is it's going to take a long time to get from here back to 5%. So it's going to take some time. This is an example from the Wayne County data. I just wanted to see how long this really takes. So here was one, they were at 9.9% on May 1st. And they hit 4.6% here in June, and then they had to do 14 days. So it was 31 days to get to 5%, 14 days more, so 45 days to meet the in-person learning criteria, under 5% for 14 days. So I thought it was interesting that they ended up, this was 43, and lo and behold, this was 45. So what I did was I took, here's an example, if you say today that we saw the positivity rate starting to decline, and we took that 45 days from those two previous slides, that would make a return date of 28 January. And all this is all the different dates wargaming them. So for example, it starts declining on Christmas, 45 days, 8 February. January 1st, it starts declining, 45 days, you would return on 15 February.
What is the rate of decline that we're using?
I use these two. This took 43 days for it to decline, or to go up from 5 to 15. And this took 45 days for it to go down from 9 down to an acceptable level.
Okay, so like today we're at 13, so technically we're already declining.
Yeah, so that would be, right? So that's good news. Yep.
Okay, just curious. Thank you.
Yeah, no. So this 45, that's a swag. You can make that any number you want. But anyway, it just kind of gives you a feel for, so like even today, yeah, so that's good news. If it's declining 45 days, 28 January, so 22nd of January, we're in the ballpark. So it just kind of gives you a feel for how fast we could get back to in-person. This is the Allen Park City data that I get from the mayor. And you can see they've had more cases in the last 43 days than we had in the first 265 days. And I know, Jen, you had asked a question last time. The mayor dug into it with the county, and COVID infections are charged against the city of your residence, regardless of where you're at. But in colleges, they said it gets a little fuzzy. He said they kind of left the colleges to count themselves. But officially that's the way it's supposed to work. But whether it really does, I don't know. I took Barb's data from the status report and plotted up. This is the cumulative number of cases in the district. And, here's where we started remote. Here's where we started in person. And here's where we went back to remote. And I just thought it was amazing that there's been 29 infections even after we went back to remote, between students, staff, etc. So I can't imagine if we had stayed in school, how bad this 29, what that number would be. So I just wanted to say great decision by Mr. Darga to get us remote for this surge, and as you can see, it only got worse. Positive cases by school. So here's the 49 cases. Allen Park had 29, Arno, APMS, interesting. So it's interesting. I mean, you would expect the high school to have more. They have more students and they're driving. There's just more risk of infection. But I thought it was interesting, Lindeman and the community school, very low. Everybody's doing great. I mean, I think these are great numbers too, but, so my point with this one was, is there something they're doing that's a little different, that's helping, that maybe we could all learn from. So that was it on that one. This is infections by function. So of course, students, the highest percentage, 0.9% of the students, 13 staff and 3 coaches. I divided by, and I don't know if I got this right, but 200 staff members, that was about 8%.
Can I ask a quick question, Pat?
Sure.
Do you know, or do we know, from what I've been told, these, like, we'll use the 33 students, for example, none of them spread to each other, right? These were all 33 separate students that brought it from the outside in.
Yeah, can you hold that thought? I know where you're going. Let me show you on the next slide.
Awesome, thank you.
Well, I mean, here's my observation. Most infections are brought in from the community into the school. And we should investigate to see if any of the infections were spread inside the school or in the sports team. So like you were saying, Jen, has there been a case of a student infecting a teacher in school or vice versa? Because, the hypothesis I was going for is if there were no internal infections, it would imply that our mitigation measures were effective and that our classroom social distancing might not be as big a factor as we thought. However, if there were internal infections, internal transmission, then, we'd have to really study it and get in and deep dive it and see where the weakness came. So I think,
if I may just interject, from the information we've received, even through Wayne County, and as they, do their calls and contact tracing, there's been no infection from within the district. It appears that all of our mitigation strategies that we have put in place definitely helped the situation. As Dr. Warren stated, these were all brought into the district from outside sources. So I do think, and kudos to the entire, the administrative team as well as our teaching staff. The maintenance have just done an outstanding job of making sure, Director Pat Ward and his team setting all this up for us. But as a district, I believe we really went above and beyond, the call of duty. We were constantly listening to our teachers. We constantly had groups giving us feedback of what was working within the classrooms. We continued to constantly order new things if we felt that would give us one more level of protection. So again, through contact tracing, we've not heard anything from Wayne County Health Department that there was any spread of infection through within the district. It was all brought from the outside. So kudos to the team.
wow. So
Absolutely, that's an amazing accomplishment.
yeah, that is remarkable. And that bodes well for eventually coming back in. And it just reinforces too that the COVID prevention best practices outside of the school are what is really critical to protecting, the AP, the public district. The next part was on vaccines. There's actually, if you can see over here, there's 2 vaccines in use in Russia and China. But for the US in 2020, we got the Pfizer today. I don't know if you saw it, but they were giving people shots on CNN, and I tell you, it was amazing. And then Moderna is not. I think they're having their public where they bring in the third party to comment on December 17th. So I'm sure it'll be approved, a day or 2 after that. So these 2 vaccines will be coming in this year, and then the lineup for next year is. This Johnson & Johnson one is big because it's only 1 shot and it only has to be refrigerated and not frozen. The AstraZeneca one that they're doing in England and with Oxford, the problem they ran into is they messed up on their trials, and some of the people for their first dose only got a half dose instead of a full. So they don't think but they got to kind of rethink their testing, but it won't be a big delay. Interestingly enough, the people with only the half first dose had better immune reaction than the people that got the full first dose. So it's one of those things you find out things by just luck sometimes. And this Novamax is another one that's only refrigerated. So, the great news is going to be coming in here, 2021. There's more on the horizon. There's 58 vaccines in the world in clinical trials. So, so that's going well. There's two limitations that we have to be aware of. They're only approved for age 16 and older. They are not approved for under 16 for emergency use. And also this study, Pfizer only tested down to age 12. China has a study going on right now on basically infants to teenagers. But so, in my head, and John, you told me this months ago, I didn't even sink in, but I'm thinking, okay, vaccine, everybody's going to get it. No, they still have to do more testing for children. And then for pregnant and nursing, the emergency use authorization said, we can't tell you whether it's safe or not. So consult your physician. So that one's still a little bit of a gray area. But so that's the Pfizer vaccine. This I thought was just amazing. Here's how long it took to develop other vaccines: 7 years for polio, 9 years for measles, 34 years for chickenpox, HPV, 15 years. And they still don't have a vaccine for AIDS, I don't believe, for HIV. And they did this in 11 months. I was just saying, my daughter was like, she was like, I'm going to start crying. And, I told her, I said, this is how I felt when we landed on the moon. It made me proud to be an American. And I just think this is just a stellar achievement. So the question is, how many doses are we going to get? This is how many have been purchased. Of course, this is as of November 20th, so there might be more, but so they've reserved 1 billion. And again, now this is from December 10th. Again, remember, there's 2 doses per customer. So if you get 200 million doses, that's 100 million people. And when you think about the time from the first shot for the Pfizer one, it's 3 weeks from between the first shot and the second shot, and you're fully protected 7 days after the second dose. So basically, it's a month to get fully immunized. So amazing. Michigan slated to get 250,000 doses this year, 84,000 right away. If I took 84,000 divided by the state population of 10 million, that's about a 1.3% vaccination rate. For herd immunity, you need 60 to 70%, or 70 to 70, at least probably 70 is the number I hear the most, of people to be vaccinated. You add in the people that have been affected and you're safe. Countrywide, they're talking 50 million by the end of January, 100 million by the end of February. And of the beginning, there's 21 million healthcare workers, frontline healthcare workers, 3 million people in long-term care facilities. So everybody's priority list puts these 2 first. So the moral, what I'm trying to say is, if teachers aren't going to be getting these shots right away. And it's going to take a long time to build up the herd immunity to where the point where we're all safe. So this was the MDHSS vaccine plan. So again, healthcare people first. Phase 1B would be essential workers, and in essential workers, of course, teachers are there. If you want us to get back to school, give us the tools, and then you go to high risk, and then basically everybody else. So, even if children were approved, I don't see teenagers being until like phase 2, probably. But in any case, we can't do the students. Teachers are not going to be right away, but they will be higher on the list. So I kind of tried to war game it. If this is 2021, we got a couple months before we can get back in school, maybe. We got limited vaccine here. We got full vaccine here. But it'll be spring, summer before we can vaccinate children. So it's like, we might get a little window in here to return in person, hopefully. But it's going to be pretty much like it is now. When we went back in November, it's not The vaccine isn't going to be there. So basically, remote instruction, nobody's going to be vaccinated, but we'll be in school. Then, we'll start to get some teacher vaccinations and then, finish it in the end of the year. So, I don't know. Who knows? The story changes daily, but, hopefully by some miracle, maybe we could get, I don't know. So anyway, so the moral of the story was we're going to be masking and social distancing for a long time longer. We're not out of the woods yet. They say certainly the back to normal in quotation marks is going to be next fall. They're saying, the 2021-22 school year, hopefully we should be able to be back to, quote unquote normal by then. So all I'm trying to say is it's going to be a while, and we can't let our guard down. So basically, the new quarantine criteria is great. That saves, down to 7 days. The vaccine's unbelievable, and testing's readily available. I mean, you can get, it's not like in March, April, and you can pretty much get a test if you want it. COVID infections are horrific. It's worse than it has ever been in the entire history of the pandemic. We're going to have to be a while before we can get back to remote, but sooner the better. Again, we're not going to get the vaccines in time to get back to full normal this year because they're not approved for kids under 16 and teachers are not in the first wave. So we got to just keep social distancing, and then, 21, 22, we should be, it should be back to normal. So anyway, that's, I just wanted to share that information and get everybody on the same page. So that's all I got.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Shearer. If you want to discontinue sharing your screen. We've gone around once. I don't really have anything additional to add. I think there were a lot of really good comments, and this has got more to play out as we get into January. There's a digital raise your hand at the bottom of the screen. Anybody else want to make any further comments on this one? Raise your digital hand. If not, we'll get it down to a vote. Doesn't look to me like anyone does.
Oh no, I got to raise my hand.
Okay, Pat, you're back up.
I got to get to the last ounce of blood.
You're back up.
Just had a question: what's the status of posting the nursing position?
Yeah, we're working with Elise, the HR department, on that. We're still working through possibly a third party.
What's the timing on getting it posted, and you think getting somebody on staff?
Well, we're hoping to have that done as soon as possible. Again, we're talking with some third parties. Also, we're also trying to decide, this, what you just stated kind of comes into play a little bit of, when we will be back in, when we'll actually need that person to be on staff to get acclimated. We'd like to do that sooner than later. We obviously would rather have that person on staff before we all return, because once we do come back into the district, obviously, there'll be a need.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I can see why you're remote. It's not as critical, but she could have a month under her belt before all hell breaks loose again. I got it. Okay. And then I had a question. Are special ed and CTE in-house? Were we able to bring anybody in the buildings?
No, right now we're still working with Dr. Sokol, and we're all remote at this time.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we still do, though, when we do need to do testing, we are bringing in individuals for different testing. And again, that's through our special services department. So with IEPs or any of those, that are needed, our staff is bringing people in individually. We have students that are reporting here to Riley to meet, as well as our school buildings. And again, that's through an invitation only.
Okay, great. Oh, thank you.
Okay, seeing no other raised hands, we'll go ahead and call the vote. It's been moved and supported, discussed, questioned, and there being no further discussion or questions, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Any opposed?
That's with the January 22nd caveat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounded to me like a unanimous pass there, Barb. I was breaking up a little, but that sounded to me unanimous.
Agreed.
Okay, I'm moving forward to item 10B, introduction of new business. Mr. Darga.
Resolution to approve the application for the preliminary qualification of bonds. As we continue to move forward in the planning of the bond election in May of 2021, a meeting was held with the Michigan Department of Treasury, along with representatives from French & Associates, Barton Mallow Company, the district's designation construction management firm, Baker Tilly Municipal Advisors, the district's financial consultants, and True Law Firm to finalize the preliminary qualification of bonds application. Ms. Tiffany Keith, Director of Finance, is here this evening to share some information regarding the financial aspects of this project. The resolution that the Allen Park Board of Education hereby certifies that the regular meeting of the board, which was conducted and for which public notice of said meeting was given pursuant to and in full compliance with Act 276 of Public Acts of 1976 on this 14th day of December 2020, took the following action. Resolved to apply the preliminary qualifications of bonds by the state treasurer for the purpose of financing and school construction description in this application. That said, the application is presented to the state treasurer for action prior to the official action of the Board of Education calling the election on said bond issue. Resolved that this Board of Education will present a final qualification application to the state treasurer for qualification of their bonds after this bond issue has been approved by the electors of said district. Read this application and approved all statements and representations contained herein as true to the best knowledge and belief of the board. Authorize the Secretary of the Board of Education to sign preliminary applications and submit same to the state treasurer for review and approval. The suggested motion would be that the Allen Park Board of Education adopt the resolution to approve and certify the application for preliminary qualification of bonds as presented.
So moved.
Support.
Okay, been moved and supported. Let's go around. We'll go with Dr. Warren first.
I have no comments right now.
Oh, okay. Mr. Klein.
Just one quick comment. I know you read in the letter earlier, Mike, but for anybody who came in late after you had a chance to read the letter that went out to or that Gordon read on your behalf, the whole issue with the pool, we have flexibility to do lots of different things that could include, keeping the pool or deciding that's not the best move. We have lots of flexibility, and this just allows us to kind of move forward, and then we can deal with that and get more information and make good decisions in the future. Correct?
That's correct. Yeah. This allows us flexibility. And as stated in my letter, we're looking forward to working with our parents. This will be a couple-year process, but down the road.
Great. That was a great letter. Thanks, Mike.
Yep.
Okay. Mr. Shearer.
No comment, believe it or not.
Mrs. McDonald.
Thanks for clarifying the pool issue. And beyond that, I have no comment. Thank you.
Okay, and Mr. Moynihan. Mr. Moynihan, are you there?
Yeah, everybody's kind of freezing for a while there. I have no comment. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate going back and keeping alive all the possibilities on that with respect to the pool that we heard about at the last meeting. And it's the right way to move forward here. I think the right decisions will be made at the right times, but this keeps us moving in the right direction for the overall health of the physical imprint of our district. So thank you for everybody who had a hand in that. We went around, didn't sound like many questions, so let's call the vote on that. Been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes. Moving forward to superintendent's reports. Mr. Darga.
Very good. Kudos to the AP staff and students. We've got moonbeams for Sweet Dreams, AP gift card drive, building up to kindergarten fall of 2021, social emotional well-being resources, and virtual days a week. Starting off with Moonbeams and Sweet Dreams, sponsored by the Allen Park Middle School National Junior Honor Society. Many sick children are unable to leave their rooms and can feel isolated in the hospital as the rest of the world continues without them. With the help of the community, we can make sure that they go to bed with smiles on their faces. The families of Allen Park Middle School sent a virtual message to the kids at Beaumont Royal Oak, wishing the children a night filled with sweet dreams. Family gathers in front of Allen Park Middle School the evening of December 9th, dressed for the weather and bearing flashlights to make moonbeams, sharing their best wishes. Helping others during the holidays, and AP continues with a safe alternative to the annual AP Holiday Toy Box Project. Ms. Michelle Keene and Ms. Karen Millette are serving as organizers of a gift card collection event to help local families in need this holiday season. Virtual Students of the Month are still being identified at Allen Park Middle School, and our PTA PTSAs continue with a plan to recognize exemplary individuals in the areas of distinguished service, outstanding educator, outstanding student, outstanding support personnel, as well as outstanding program and business partner through the Founders Day celebration. The kindergarten team at Allen Park Public Schools has created the first of 3-part series offering a virtual experience for families with incoming kindergartners for the fall of 2021 and better help the families to get their child ready for kindergarten. Counselors and social workers continue to reach out to students as a result of the recent Universal Socially Emotional Survey, as well as provide students with strategies and resources to help them through stressful times by sharing a PowerPoint filled with great information such as virtual tutoring opportunities, tips for organizing school day at home, counseling support services, and ways to interrupt the stress cycle, things you can do to change your mood, and much, much more. Virtual Spirit Days or weeks are held in all buildings. I'd like to also continue to give a big shout out to our Allen Park Public Schools Food Service Department from the Michigan Department of Education. Congratulations, Ms. Karen Gobis and the entire team of dedicated and passionate food service workers. It says, dear sponsor, thank you for stepping up and participating in an unanticipated school closure summer food service program this year. Your dedicated efforts made positive impact on Michigan's children and in your community by providing healthy meals during a great time of need. Your efforts are to be applauded. It says, thank you for stepping up and feeding Michigan's children. During the pandemic, Allen Park Public Schools served 58,198 meals. Thank you. I'd also like to say in closing, after that, I appreciate all of their hard work. And again, it's a representative of Allen Park Public Schools and our entire school community. There are so many inspiring, great things happening in Allen Park, even during a pandemic. And I have the privilege of working with dedicated individuals who are committed to making Allen Park Public Schools the best district it can be through these programs and so many more. As we near the holiday season, I am so grateful for all the children that make up Allen Park Public Schools, whether they are in person, remote, or learning virtually. And I'm equally grateful for the parents, grandparents, and caregivers for being supportive and flexible partners with our schools, because we cannot do it alone. Without you, we would not be in the beautiful, diverse community that we are in. Although this year has been a challenging year for all of us, I ask that we remember to use caution and be safe as we celebrate this holiday season. You are all an important part of AP, so let AP pride shine brightly. Make a positive difference this holiday season and in the life of someone else. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gardner. Well said. Citizens' comments, number 12, Dr. Tefelsky.
Yeah, we have a couple of new ones. The first one is from Karen Villanueva. Is there any chance of the middle school and ninth graders switching over to the HP Chromebooks as opposed to the Lenovo? I understand the Lenovo are from January and like new, but it has been difficult to justify to my 7th grader why her 2nd grade sister is now on her 2nd new in-box HP Chromebook, and my 7th grader is on her 2nd and in need of a 3rd like new book because the battery doesn't charge past 85%. I love the district's ability to provide one-to-one. There must have been autocorrect here. So I'm going to skip that. At a previous meeting, it was stated that every student would receive an HP Chromebook. I see the frustration in my 7th grader trying to work on paragraphs, essays, etc., and just hoping that this like new book will get her through the assignment. Maybe the Lenovo should have gone to juniors and seniors finishing up the AP schooling, and not kids still have several years to go. Thanks for all you have done to make AP a very competitive school district. Any information regarding this is appreciated. From Amy Masala, have there been any discussions about the 5.0 infection rate and following a different threshold? The time has come when our children's mental health absolutely has to be weighed heavily. Perhaps a hybrid option will require a different threshold. There are a lot of broken-hearted parents in this district due to watching our children go through this. They need their peers. And finally, Jennifer Jacobs. I want to give a shout out to our teachers who are going above and beyond to educate our students. We have been the recipients of some amazing teachers truly going beyond their job description. I appreciate the conversation regarding the concerns returning face-to-face learning. Thank you for actively researching COVID statistics to keep our school community safe. I have two concerns. The first concern is the 5% infection rate we are following and other districts are not. It may be beneficial to reevaluate the district standard. I am fearful if we continue the standard, we will not be going back face-to-face this year. Speaking with a superintendent from another district, I was told the infections are not happening in their district, which was discussed regarding infections outside the schools. With that, my second concern is the mental health of our students. So many are dealing with paralyzing fear, struggling in their classes as well. Students may not be physically dying from COVID, but are mentally dying inside. We need to do all we can to get our students back in the classroom. Please make the necessary adjustments to get our students back in the classroom. I look forward to the January meeting for more information. Thank you for serving our community, and may you all have a wonderful Christmas and New Year. And that is it.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Tefelsky. We'll
Yep.
move forward to item 13, reports of officers, and we will start with our two that are departing us after this meeting. We'll start with Mr. Moynihan.
Thanks, Gordon. Just like to reiterate that I enjoyed my time, my 14 years on a school board. Thank you for the support of the community, along with all the school board members that I've dealt with through the years. It's been an honor to serve on the board, more than a job, to be honest. Enjoyed every minute of it, and leaving it in pretty darn good hands. So thanks again, and good luck to everyone. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Moynihan. And then we'll go with Mr. Shearer.
Yeah, just kind of in that same vein, I want to thank everybody for asking a lot of questions in the last year, and everybody was very patient, and nobody made fun of me. And even when I asked the same question 10 times, so I really appreciate that. It's a whole different world. I did have a question, Mike. When you said the sports teams, were there no transmissions? Does that include in the sports teams?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. From the information we received, and again, that's through the contact tracing. There was nothing through.
Sure.
And again, I know that there was some rumors, in the beginning regarding one of the teams, and again, that was not the case at all.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you. And then I spent, yesterday going through all the emails since the last meeting. I've been behind, so I thought that the career conference was awesome. The thing you sent out about Mr. Carlin. I like the online newspaper letter for APHS. The Chromebook walk-ins, the availability of people to get help. The website tweaks, I like them. It's even already you can see I really like the flow. Especially, in the COVID part, it's a lot clearer. Like Mike said, all the Christmas projects, holy cow, absolutely spectacular. I was really touched by, starting the last month or two, all about the social and emotional learning and finding out where the kids are at and are they okay. And I'd love to see some results from all that, or of what the results were or how, but it's really great. I did have a question. Are there any unfilled teacher spots right now?
Yeah, we actually do have one that we've actually.
Just one. Okay, gotcha. No, I understand. The kindergarten videos and those PowerPoints, really cool. If I saw those, I would come to Allen Park. The money, the COVID grant that went to some. Was that teachers? That's wonderful. I liked your Thanksgiving message, Mike. I see they're having some spirit weeks, trying to get a sense of normalcy. So, as best you can. I think that's wonderful. The stressful times PowerPoint that the counselors sent out, keeping it safe. So just really, I'm just marvel at it every time. There's just so much good news. I am really proud to be associated with this district. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Shearer. Let's go with Dr. Warren.
Hi. So I want to first of all thank Rick and Pat, of course, for your years of service. I have been honored to work with both of you, and I appreciate the insight, the different even insights that both of you guys have had. So I really definitely appreciate it, and thank you. I'd like to congratulate the new hires and the retirement as well. I did hear about the Chromebook issues, and if I'm not mistaken, 6 through 12 now, they're getting newer Chromebooks, but they have to be cleaned and ready to prep, right?
That's correct. Yeah, the tech department is working through that. And right now they're still doing some of this stuff with the elementaries as well.
Right. Yep. So that's awesome. So I know it's coming, and I know it's frustrating, but I know it's coming, which is awesome.
And again, I'd like to reiterate, Dr. Warren, sorry, if they have a problem, please come in. They have drop-in hours every single day at the tech department. Yeah. Email technology@appublicschools.com. And Mr. Mahalik will respond to them, or Mr. Barron or Mr. Britannic.
Absolutely. Thank you. That's awesome that they're doing that for them too. And I know it's frustrating. I mean, I have 3 little kids, doing it too. So I definitely appreciate all the work that's going into that. As always, I really want to thank our teachers, our staff, our administration team. This is so weird. Like we always talk about, we never thought we'd be doing this during a pandemic. Just like you were saying, Mr. Moynihan, like it's a crazy time to go out during a pandemic. Like it is crazy times without a doubt. And I just want to thank you guys. I have 3 little kids, and do I think they'd be better off in person? Yes, I do. I know I have not hid that from anybody. But what they're getting for what we have to be doing right now is amazing. My kids are definitely struggling emotionally, without a doubt. But they are succeeding academically, and I thank our teachers for that. Very much so. The staff, the admin. I want to make sure that I reach out and thank you guys, because I don't get to see you because we are not in person. So I can't really thank you the way that I normally would. Even the special teachers, just a quick little shout out. My little Brayden, in music, he's singing along, he's annoying his brothers, but it's wonderful. And, he's jingling his bells. He had a great time. And art, they're coloring. And the specials have been just amazing all around. So Jim, my kids I was downstairs. I'm like, what are they doing? I run up there. They're doing jumping jacks. So, they're definitely very active, and I appreciate it very, very much. I know it cannot be easy. I teach online as well. I know I am effective because my students are doing great. However, I know I'm not as effective. So you guys are doing amazing, and I just want to let you know that. I'm excited, like we were talking about there, Mr. Klein, to have another discussion. So that way we're ready to go when it's time to go, right? So, we just kind of pointed out that there's been no spread at the schools, even with the limited social distancing that we can do. Yes, just like you said, Pat, I don't feel we'll be taking our masks off anytime soon, right? Trust me, I can't wait for that day. But I agree. I don't see it happening anytime soon. But I definitely want to see those kids back in the classroom as soon as we can get them there. CDC, Dr. Fauci, even the governor is saying it's safe through kindergarten through 8th grade to get back in there. So the vaccines are out now. So I'm hoping to see some changes, and hopefully we can get these kids back in the classroom sooner rather than later. And everybody, have a great holiday. Everybody, happy holidays. Love your family. Hold them tight. Way too many losses this year. So hold your families tighter. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Warren. Mr. Klein.
It's becoming a bit of a broken record, but Rick and Pat, thank you. I look around at all the faces, in the screens, and each one of us brings something different to the party, and we're a really I think we're a really good, diverse group that works well together, and we'll miss the backgrounds that you bring. I know, Jen, you have that business background that helps, but Rick, that's been such a great thing to have someone who has that business piece. And Pat, your engineering mindset is amazing. That'll be a real loss to lose that kind of engineering, creative thinking. So thank you. It's been a pleasure to serve with you. Thank you to the students, families, teachers, admin, staff, everybody out there. I know it's been a tough time. Please take a couple of weeks here coming up to get some rest, recharge, relax, and let's hope maybe next year, next 2021 brings a little bit easier year, a little return to normalcy. Hopefully by the next semester, maybe we can start getting some kids back and start to really, school can start to feel normal. One little silver lining. My daughter was actually just texting me. I shouldn't have seen it, but my daughter was texting me. Silver lining, the millennials are watching us more. In fact, she said there's a whole group of them out there that are engaged. They kind of enjoy watching the board meetings. They chat back and forth. It's kind of like almost like for them a game night. Like they enjoy watching the board thing. So while we don't love this, and I don't think it's the best way to run a meeting, the millennial community is out there, and apparently this is good for them. So a shout out to those kids, and a couple of them are my daughters. So shout out to them.
They just said in the background, we're the new Bachelor.
I think it's a little bit of a like.
Heroes.
I don't know what that says, but yeah. Anyways, thank you, everyone. That's it for me. Have a great holiday break here.
Thank you, Mr. Klein. Mrs. McDonald.
I too would like to congratulate Pat and Rick. It was a true honor and privilege to work with you gentlemen, and your talents will be sorely missed. So thank you for all your time and effort and willing to listen whenever I called and we struck up conversations. I'd also like to give a huge shout out to our tech department. I had a few little issues while teaching the grandkids this week, and they just saved the day. So my appreciation to them. Congratulations to Christine Lyson on her retirement. I'd like to thank the hybrid planning teams that were in place at the secondary level and elementary levels. I think they brought many great ideas forward, and now it's time to, put the finishing touches on them, so we'll be ready to go when it's first possible to do so. The Toy Box Project and other Christmas projects, thanks to all who are involved with that. The Toy Box Project in particular is near and dear to my heart. I ran it for many years, and I'm glad to see it's continuing even under this different format. So thank you for that. Thanks to our teachers, staff, and administration. I get to see firsthand what teaching looks like on a daily basis, and thank God I'm retired. That's all I have to say about that. And to our students, our families, staff, happy holidays. Get some rest. You deserve it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. McDonald. I've already congratulated and thanked Rick and Pat, but I'll do so one more time. Thank you to you both. I want to wish everybody associated with the district a happy, but more importantly, a healthy holiday season. I don't think that we're, a month away from looking like normal, but, it does start to feel a little better when you see people rolling out the vaccination shots. And then, I felt a little different sunshine today. We got a long way to go, though, and I don't want anybody to let their guard down. Let's make sure that we're not doing anything unnecessary to prolong this any longer than it needs to be, because I want it over yesterday, like I'm sure all of you do as well. But the level of sacrifice that's already been, effectively thrust upon everyone, it warrants us paying attention and finishing it out the right way. You don't run, a mile and cut short 200 feet from the finish line. You go all the way through the finish line. So I just want to bring that point up. I do try to constantly look for silver linings in this process, and I'm glad that Mr. Klein shared that one, and that made me smile, and I'm happy to hear that engagement from younger kids. I think that's an important thing. I will tell you what I keep trying to convince myself of is that, particularly for the older students, 11th, 12th grade, and I think that 12th grade class has lost an awful lot in this last year. We all have, but they've missed that transition year from junior into senior year. They've missed a lot of their last year of sporting events. But those older students in our high school, and then to some degree, or maybe to a greater degree, graduates, alumni of our university that are in college right now. One thing I have convinced myself of at this point is that they've developed a a resiliency and an adaptability to coming out of this that is going to only serve them well as we live, and their future is more digitized, with more options in their lifestyle, their life choices, etc. So I'm trying to hold on to that as a positive coming out of this. But there's been a lot of loss this year. 2020 has been difficult for all of us as board members. I'm thankful that I serve with all of you because I think everybody here has had absolute safety, health of the kids in their forefront of their minds during decision-making processes. I'm thankful to be a member of a team like that. I'm hoping for a better 2021, as I know all of you are. And so goodbye 2020, goodbye Yellow Brick Road, goodbye 2020, and ready to move on to 2021, and look forward to meeting with the new board in January and rolling up our sleeves and let's get things right as we move forward into the rest of the school year. So with that, we will wrap up, and I believe we're ready for a motion to go into closed session for two purposes. One being attorney-client privilege information, and other is for periodic evaluation of the superintendent.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, I want to thank the public for participating. We will go into closed session. Thank you. And I'm watching the YouTube channel to see when we pop back up here. Okay, we're back live. We came back from closed session. Before we adjourn, there is a proposed motion, and the proposed motion is to adopt the Board of Education's periodic review of the superintendent for 2020. Is that correct, Barb? Make sure I'm correct on the motion.
Yes.
Okay, that's a proposed motion. Is there
So moved.
somebody wants to move on that? It's been moved by Rick. Support?
Support.
Support.
Okay, been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Okay, and with that, I would love to have Rick move to adjourn and Pat to second it on their last way out the door here. So Rick, we'll leave you the floor.
It'd be my pleasure. Move to adjourn.
Second.
All right, thank you both again for everything. You'll be missed.
Merry Christmas.
All right.
Been moved and supported. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay. Good night, everyone. Happy holidays. Be safe. We'll see you all soon.
Happy holidays. Merry Christmas, guys. Happy holidays.
Everybody.
Thank you.